people in my life who have been a very strong influence. Starting with my Hindi teacher, Vadekar sir. Actually, he started teaching me around class 10th. Until that time, I used to hate Hindi. But I think through the sheer passion that he used to bring to the classroom and the topic that he represented, it used to be so encouraging and, so... And he taught me pretty much to explore like the deeper meaning of things, or even appreciate and experience the beauty of art. And everything pretty much started around content communication through him. So a big hello to him. Recently lost my physics teacher, Deshpande sir. Again, like, who would think that you would learn storytelling from a physics teacher? But I really did, because even when he would talk about atomic theories and stuff like that, or he would always come up with a way to talk about it. Like, we almost felt that Neil Bohr is in that room and Rutherford is sulking in the corner, and he's saying that I don't care what Rutherford is saying, but I think my model is correct. And he would like really be there and relate with stuff. So I can go on and on about him, but yeah, we recently lost him. But he taught me pretty much the power of storytelling. And also he used to often talk about, from a scientific thought process, that how observing stuff is really important, because you might just end up learning something from a very unexpected place. So yeah, that has sort of stayed in my life. Okay, this clickers, okay. And lastly, Leenima madam, I mean, she taught, so the first year when I joined electrical engineering, I went very excited to ask her that, tell her that, hey, I made it to engineering and this is what I'm doing. And she congratulated me, but her response, because she had seen me through all the years performing at co-curricular events and stuff like that, being mostly on stage and stuff, and she said that don't lose your touch with literature. Like, people, like in those times, like where I resided, everybody was either an engineer or a doctor, and everything else was not even understood. So she told me that, don't treat what you're doing as an escape, treat it as your strength. And now I'm lucky to work in a company where we are constantly encouraged to, sort of pivot on our strengths. So I'm happy about that journey. I hope I have not clicked the next button, because I wanted to ask you guys a question. There's one more teacher that I wanted to talk about. As we are imagining the next of web entertainment and the digital future which resides on our mobile and things like that, there's also been a non-human teacher in our lives for like more than last 2 decades. Can anybody guess what that is or who that is? Google has been there. Not the right answer in this case. Cool, I'll quickly move on. And that's television, I wanted to say, I mean, just think about it. Like, there were definitely a lot of constraints with the TV set as we think about it in retrospect. Like the new screen is a mobile screen. It is like much more portable than the television. It can go along with you wherever you are, so that gives more access into the audience's life. It is, again, self-paced, individualized. Like, you're not like limited to showing the content that the whole household can watch, but you can actually target every individual in the household and make something that's special or meaningful for that audience. So those, advantages are there. The next advantage is, which is what I'm going to talk about a lot next, is that, that it's also not just a consumption screen, but it's also a social screen, right? So, I mean, television, now that we think about it in retrospect, had so many limitations. And yet, despite that, it has touched our lives and so many people's lives in such a big way. So I think, as learners from television, we should just sort of, bid hi to them on Teachers' Day. So moving right along and getting deep into what I'm actually here to talk about. So since the last year, there has been a great shift in how Facebook thinks about things. For more than 14 years, our company's mission used to be to make the world more open and connected. But just to reflect the changing ideology inside the company and how we were thinking a lot about what our product should achieve, we changed that mission statement to saying, I hope a lot of you are familiar with it, but I'll just repeat it still, is to give people the power to build communities and bring the world closer. And following up to that, since video was becoming such a huge format of consumption across feed and everything, we came up with a vision around videos, which is to building and enabling video experiences that connect people, right? And I'm going to talk a lot more about how we are planning to deliver on that. So thinking community around content. My colleague Roxanne's here, and we work across the day, with many partners. Even if you wake us up in our sleep, we can tell you that, we are thinking community around content. But just we as a platform being convinced about it is not going to win anything for anyone. There are 2 other very important constituents to this equation, which is more like a triangle. One part is the audience. So the audience needs to recognize what additional value add, what additional enriching is happening in their content experience in a very seamless manner. That is one part. And the other part is you folks, like people who are serving that content to that audience. They need to feel excited and motivated, and that's probably something that I'm hoping to spark a little bit over the next 13 minutes, roughly. So yeah, before we get into the products and all the technicalities around that, just a simple thought. What is a community, basically? Community is roughly people living in the same place. That can be a physical, geographical place, or it can be like a virtual space, your OTT app or platform and stuff like that. There has to be a characteristic in common. Like all fans of Bhuvan Bam, including Bhuvan himself, are fans of himself, Bhuvan. So there has to be that common characteristic that everybody kind of, it's centered around some common passion or cause. So that's that. Now, or and that can be like common attitudes, interests, and stuff like that. So that's one. So that's the definition of community. And you as a community head, as somebody who's leading that community, what's the sort of community feeling that you would try to evoke in your followers then? You firstly have to start by creating a sense of belonging and involvement. Like I always say this, that we live in Bombay, and I've shared space with Amitabh Bachchan standing next to me, and I acted all cool that, yeah, I mean, I'm in media, he's a guy in media. But think about how big our market and our country is. Even a simple acknowledgement sometimes, when it comes from a public figure like you, it means so much to a normal person's life. Or even if you're a content creator, if you show that the audience has a chance to get involved with what content you're serving them, your opinion matters and things like that, it can mean like a hell lot. And then next stuff is personalizing. How often can you personalize? How often can be your authentic self, right? I mean, it is highly encouraged in today's day and age. I mean, Bhuvan talked about it, that in February he wrote on Instagram that I'm tired of making stuff and I want to take a break. I know about a lot of other people, like last year, Saurabh Pant, made this very heartfelt, Saurabh Pant, the comedian, he made a heartfelt post saying that, guys, I'm doing this, week on week, I'm doing shows, I'm posting one video every week, I'm doing everything, but I'm feeling burnt out. You never had such avenues. Like, I can't think of a TV programming team saying that I'm tired of doing another episode, and being able to tell that to the audience, and audience saying, okay, chill, sort your life out, come back after a, break or something. Never used to happen, but now those opportunities are there. And sharing the fun moments. I mean, life sucks. I mean, life is hard and, it's unfair, and at least we are in a better position, and, and we want to show them that, there are fun sides to things. Like a vamp and a, heroine of a show can actually get along during lunch, So we can share those fun moments with our followers. And making your audience feel special. Like if they have been, taking the time out of their day to follow you closely, then I think the least you can do is share some of those special announcements and, a little bit of extra of what you have with them, or seek their opinion, and that would make them feel really special. So having said that, that feels like a lot of work also, right? But I just wanted to simplify that. If you want to go away with just one thought after the next 11 minutes, that has to be think beyond audience and think community. It's very simple. Just no technology and nothing else, no platform would be able to help you unless you make that switch in your head, little by little, that you are considering those who consume your content not as your audience, but as your community. And how would you do that, right? Why would you do that? Let's just quickly cover that. So we drew a line and quickly put out advantages and disadvantages of doing this, right? So audience, passive consumption, no way to tell how engaged they felt with the content. Communities, engaged viewership. Maybe more volume can come because passively people can consume more, but that's always mindless, a lot of times mindless. But if you are serving it to a community, you're sure that it's definitely more meaningful to them, which is sustainable long-term. Less chances of a social action, high possibilities of social interactions. All of these are pretty first 15-second thoughts, so I won't dwell on them. There is no assurance of retentivity, while here there is a whole big chance of retentivity. Retentivity means people coming back to consume more of what you have served, or people staying for longer on what you are serving. Both of those kind of account for retentivity. And lastly, unidimensional storytelling. Everybody who's in one form of storytelling are creative people. They want an escape. They want to experiment with different things. And that's what opens up when you're, again, Bhuvan's example, I'm sorry. He wanted to be a singer. Then he became an online comedian and a YouTube star. And now he's able to go back to being a musician, which was what he wanted to do. So he can actually explore different storylines of what he can do in life. So the difference that would happen in terms of effort from your end when you start serving stuff to your audience, treating them as community, would be roughly this. So you guys are working on different video projects and stuff like that. If you just thought of your people as audience, you would have done what is there in the center, which is your video or episode goes live. But if you were serving that to your audience or your community, you would probably actually start much earlier by making an announcement about it, sharing, important stuff like the launch date, or go live talking about your inspiration, the concept, and stuff like that. And then sort of build buzz around the moments when the video is about to launch. And then even after the video is released and done its job, you can then follow up with further conversation, and so much can happen. So I won't dwell on that, but this is what your content wave can look like. There can be like a very rich inflow into the main thing, and then like a nice outflow. And from there, the next can also come up, right? So why are we asking you guys to sort of do this? Multiple reasons, but I'll start from the most primary one. So what we have recognized by looking at how people spend time on mobile video is simply this, that there are multiple pockets through the day where the content is consumed on the go. That's a low intent. There are lots of these low intent pockets through the day where people are just like blanking out. So they just take out their phone, they open, and they just start scroll, tap, 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 scroll. And their mind just stops on small pieces of content, which is eye-catchy, has got some stickiness, already something that they are excited about. But they're not in a situation to consume that content at that time. And there are other pockets which are very similar to appointment viewing on television, is a captivated viewing opportunity. Say somebody is, traveling to work, like I come from Ghatkopar to BKC, so it's like 40 minutes every day. Or, some days when my friends have eaten lunch, I'm eating lunch alone, or, traveling back. And so there are certain pockets of time where, and those are less frequent, but the mindset there is intentionally to consume, relax, and get entertained. And I think as a platform, our biggest learning has been to create an opportunity for the latter to happen, right? Because that's like the main big opportunity. So what are we doing about it? So we already started, our focus on creating new products and features is driven by these things. How people are responding, how publishers are responding, what do people really want, and what are the need gaps, like every other product company. So we already have products that serve the first thing. You know about stories, you know about feed videos. But of late, we've been really focused on creating all these other products. I think some of them are already known to you. Live has been around for the last 1.5, 2 years. But I'm going to talk a little bit about a lot of other things and what's the central idea which is kind of running all of that. But I'm very excited to start off with Facebook Watch, which is sort of the primary destination for watching videos that we have envisioned to create through this product. So it just launched on August 30th, so it's pretty much like the first time an audience is seeing it in India in public, so we're very excited about it. I hope the sound plays. So that's Facebook Watch, guys. It's already launched. Really excited. Would love to know from you guys, feedback and how you think it's working, not working. So like I said, Facebook Watch is envisioned to be like the primary destination where people discover the videos that they love. And while they do that, they simultaneously also connect with their friends and, fans, and it becomes like a multi-directional thing. So a lot of people who are already publishing video content on Newsfeed might be wondering that what does that mean for Newsfeed? Well, Newsfeed will continue to be like the primary feed for discovery and connections-led discovery to happen. all the past signals of your usage and everything that determines what's going to be like really relevant for you on the newsfeed will still be there. But over a period of time, people will realize that, that watch is sort of helping them, content that is more relevant, enjoyable, long form, all of those things will start happening more favorably on watch. And we are in the process of building that habit. And what we expect to, what we expect should happen over a period of time is that people start forming habit of going to watch long form content and high intent content and build loyalty towards that. And a way to kind of retain the audience in that space would be a lot happening through all the community driving features that we are developing alongside. So we're going to talk about a few of those. So what has always been the case for video content on Facebook is that whenever you are consuming any content, you have the ability to react to it, comment on it, share, interact, and stuff like that. What we've been trying to do for the last few months and almost like a year has been to, how do we take that to the next level? Like, how do we, through these habits that the user is already displaying on the platform, how do we kind of like envision the next thing that can happen? And for that, we have come up simply with it's a simple, like engineering guys don't have like great creative brains to come up with names. So simply speaking, we want video to become social because as a platform, I think the biggest strength that we have had and kind of nourished and grown is the ability to make things social. So we want to pivot more on that and see how we can make video viewing social. So it's no longer like, even if the screen that you're consuming the content is a personal screen, an individualized screen, but the experience to a large extent is not passive anymore. It is the kind of viewing experience where you are able to watch that content with the people that you find relevant. For example, the FIFA World Cup happened, and I managed to watch that with not only my friends who are across India, but across the globe through WhatsApp, right? Because the games were on and I was chatting on WhatsApp simultaneously. Imagine that getting integrated to one place. Or, the viewer having at least, a solid feeling, not like a fake feeling that we're just, creating a plant, but an actual role in influencing the content that they're watching. It might be simple ways of influencing. It might just be like what Bhuvan was saying, that, hey, we want longer episodes. And you figure that, oh, our viewers want longer episode. Or it might be a much direct involvement, even deciding, it can be user-generated content. It might be content depending on people's response, and so on and so forth. So how are we looking at unlocking that? So we've divided the products and features. Okay. I think I'm going to take just a few more minutes, and good, we can skip Q&A. But we'll try and wrap this up fast. We are breaking this up into 3 parts. One is the very act of discovering that content becoming more social. The act of viewing that content, even though you're separated by geography and time of the day and so on and so forth, it's still very, very social. And you are able to build active communities around that content that you're consuming. So on the social discovery part, I'll touch upon a few products that we have. For example, the whole recommendation engine of Watch is going to depend a lot on what content, video content your friends are talking about, right? Apart from the watch list, which is like the direct list of content that you're already connected with because you're already following their pages or have viewed their content recently, all the other recommendation will be really kind of based on what your friends are watching. Because we have noticed that when people are conversing around the content, water cooler conversations take place, and people feel more enriched about that consumption. If you watch something in a silo and have nobody else to talk about it, you'll know what the feeling is when you actually find someone to talk about something, right? So that's what we are trying to drive in the recommendation engine. Facebook Live has really been there, so I won't talk much about it, but it's an out-and-out social viewing format where the audience can directly be involved, you can read out their comments, and so on and so forth. What I just want to touch upon about Facebook Live is what we are able to do much more recently is adding various formats around Facebook Live. Like you can not only go live from your phone, you can do like a stadium live, you can do a 360 live, and off late you can even bring people inside your live.
And they're going, wow, we actually get to see Sophia herself. And what a gorgeous young...
So I won't stay on this for long, but yeah, I mean, we have noticed that in the last 1.5 years itself, there have been more than 3.5 billion lives that people have done. So obviously they are seeing value in doing it. And there have been more than 150 billion reactions that have happened across those lives. including like big and small pages, everyone. And in general, when people go live, the time spent on that content often even goes up to 4 to 6 times. So it's really been like a strong value driver. And with live with, we have seen that session times go even further up because people feel directly involved and they are even participating in the content. Taking that experience further to non-live content as well, we have created a product called Watch Parties, which means that there is already like, let me just play and it'll be like self-explanatory to a large extent. So you identify a piece of content that you want to watch with your friends. You decide which friends you want to watch that content with. You can create like a simple playlist from a saved list of videos that you have. It can be a Facebook video or a saved upload and things like that. You line up that content. You decide on a time when your friends want to get together and talk about it. So imagine earlier when you were consuming a public piece of content, you would be so reluctant about talking about that content and stuff like that. But now it's a private conversation with a peer group. Cool, so we can end here, but can I take like 2 more minutes? Cool. So Watch Party is one. Check out Facebook Premiere. If you are like releasing a big piece of content and there is a lot of buzz around it already, then Premiere is the right way to go about it because as the content launches, there would be a ready audience to watch it, simultaneously and get excited and talk about it. Then there are stuff like...
Answer is a lot. Here we go. Number 1, I've been slammed by Nickelodeon. Number 2, I proposed to Selena Gomez. Or number 3, I've never brushed my hair. It's just perfect like this.
So, like live gamification tools. So the person's live is asking questions. People can respond. Depending on the results that come, the content moves forward. So we're working on this. It's yet to come to the market, but it's very soon to launch. Soon to launch. Similarly, like polls, you can put multiple polls on video content, across the timeline of that content. And there's so much that can happen creatively with that. So yeah, live polls. Groups, I can speak a whole day about groups, but maybe we should connect sometime later. But groups can influence content creation in many ways. It is not just, like a fiction show where you go and discuss about the characters and the storyline. There are many opportunities where you can become a part of the content yourself, And this is leading to many new content creation behaviors. I'll probably just stop here because we're really out of time. But so yeah, so those are the formats, a lot of new formats which are possible around this. Happy to explore. Anybody who's making social media content and wants to take a quick snapshot of the screen can do that. But yeah, there are resources like fp.media.com where you can go and learn more about these best practices, what all these new changes mean for content creators and publishers. We have recently launched a video page template. So if you're a primary video creator, then this is the template that your page should have. And as we are looking at longer format, well-produced, content on the platform, there are new. Okay, I should have. Cool. There are many new things that you should figure out and think about in terms of video best practices. So. Building loyalty around content, there are new insights around that. Building a habit around, like, Tara Sharma does it really well. She goes live every Saturday afternoon, no matter where she is. And now there is, like, a behavior where people expect, new content to come. Spending some time to create dialogue with your fans, that, goes a long way. Experimenting with different duration. Putting up content which is of a higher technical spec and stuff like that. So, yeah, this is what I wanted to leave you guys with. But just one last thought, since I don't want you to joke with me also, so I'm trying to like kill that time, is that, while we are dealing a lot with the existing, I think there's a huge opportunity that, that is here, where we can think about how people who are not even connected physically but are connected through content and shared experiences, and we can generate that experience. I feel really, really excited about that future. And so that's my email ID. If you guys have any feedback, questions, have any interesting ideas where you want to leverage any of these products, feel free to reach out to us. We'll be very excited. Thank you so much, Siddharth. And yeah, we should connect later and you can like...